Hot tags!
Hot tags.
That was
Mail
creepy. All right, everybody, get your hot tags here. We're in part 2 of episode 126. So let's break down what the current events were in wrestling this week. Obviously, let's get the big story out of the way. Ultimate Warrior unfortunately passed away this week on Tuesday, it was, right?
He did?
Yep.
Wow.
And obviously, I mean, I state the obvious here. That sucks. What good timing, though, that they were able to actually get him into the Hall of Fame ahead of time and kind of like squash those problems that they had without doing the same kind of problems that they had with like a Randy Savage, where it seemed like they were into the idea and then they just didn't shit or get off the pot kind of thing. Now at least Ultimate Warrior was able to get that one last thing before he ended up dying, so that's cool. It still really blows though, because they probably could have had some good shit with Ultimate Warrior over the next couple of years, with him being an ambassador role and being able to cut some promos and stuff. I mean, his one promo on Raw was classic Ultimate Warrior. It made like no sense, and you had to kind of decipher it afterward. And then it started to make a little bit more sense. But were you guys of the same mentality as I was when you heard that he had died? After paying attention to that promo, you immediately thought it was a suicide?
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
You weren't, Peyton?
No, I just thought it was, classic foreshadowing coincidence. Like, if you look through history, there's a lot of cases of things like that have happened. Why would he commit suicide?
I don't know.
There's no reason to think he would commit suicide.
Especially if they're signing a multi-year deal with him.
I was just interested in how they was going to integrate it into the CM Punk work.
God damn it, Steven.
So, Peyton, you've got a special coming up that you want to plug for Ultimate Warrior for KBK Fabe, right?
Absolutely. This coming Tuesday, April 15th at 8 p.m. tentative time. I may end up making that an hour earlier or later. I got to sort that out at the moment. We are going to be doing a live special on Mega Powers Radio in tribute to the Ultimate Warrior. We'll be talking about all of our favorite memories. We'll be talking about our favorite moments from his career. We'll be doing all of our favorite impersonations of fill the spaceship with the rocket fuel, or whatever you like to quote him on. It's going to be a live show on Mega Powers Radio, and as with all of our other shows we do on there, it'll be open to you to join the conversation. Call in on the phone number we'll have a chat room rolling. It'll be really interactive, fun time. It'll be a great send-off for the station to the Ultimate Warrior. And tune into that Tuesday, April 15th, megapowersradio.com.
So I'm not going to throw too much out there because we want to really obviously put most of that into there. But for just like a real quick thing, quick thoughts on Ultimate Warrior's passing, Wego?
It was shocking more than it was anything, and it's not really sank in totally yet. More pissed off about it's a shame that he died, and now all the emphasis about his death is on Nancy fucking Grace. So I'll probably get into that later. But it sucks, but I'm glad that he got his final moment in the Hall of Fame before he passed. But part of me thinks maybe it was the stress of the weekend that actually made him kick the bucket, and if that's the case, that really sucks.
Peyton, quick thoughts?
I actually completely agree with Wago. I fortunately have tuned myself completely out of this whole Nancy Grace thing. I mean, I've seen it appearing on my feed. I don't give a crap what this old hag says. Whatever she says really has no influence on what I'm doing, and anyone whose opinion I actually care about is doing. So whatever the fuck, who cares? As far as the Warrior, it's quite depressing. You said it was good timing. I don't think it's ever a good time to die.
Well, it's not like, whoa, man, this is what I'm really gearing up for. But at least it wasn't, a couple of weeks beforehand or something.
No, absolutely. I mean, that would have been a total tragedy. I didn't have too much time seeing the Ultimate Warrior live. I started watching in 1996, where Ultimate Warrior had that one final comeback into the WWF where he appeared at WrestleMania, squashed Triple H, which is, of course, even more gratifying watching retrospectively. Was only there for a few months more. Wasn't the best impression of him, but as I went through and watched some of the tapes that I rented from my local video store, and I learned more about the aura of what the Ultimate Warrior really was, one-of-a-kind character. To be able to have a force like him stand up in the time where Hulkamania was at its strongest and still make a name for himself says a lot for the guy and how much he was able to captivate audiences at the time. And say what they will about the guy's shortcomings as far as getting himself winded and whatever the heck else. I mean, pull whatever you want to from that Self-Destruction, The Ultimate Warrior DVD. The guy was a bona fide star, and I don't think there will be anyone else that could ever use a moniker like the Ultimate Warrior, because that's what he was.
Drew?
It's to me, I have to look at this differently than you guys, because I didn't grow up watching Ultimate Warrior, and so I remember him for like all the, that bad blood he had with like apparently everybody, because that's just Ultimate Warrior. But it's always bad to hear whenever a superstar, especially one like who just was in the inducted into the Hall of Fame a few days ago, die. And I feel like, and I know this is true, this wouldn't be as big of a deal to like the wrestling community if he wasn't appearing on Raw and was it seemed like he was in fine shape the day before. So I think that's a whole shock value, that man, he was just on Raw the day before completely fine, and he died the next day. So I think, I think it's sad, but I think it's it wouldn't be as big of a deal if this was like, a couple months down the road or something like that, or maybe a couple years. But, like I said, it's always sad to see someone die. And, hopefully I wish the best for his family.
Stay tuned for what is going to be a tribute of some sort on Monday Night Raw from what I've been hearing. And obviously we're going to be we're going to be giving our thoughts about that when we do the Raw post show coming up after Raw on Monday night. So that's another thing that's going to be Ultimate Warrior inspired that you guys can toss in your opinions and everything. Let's move on to the next one here. We have two hot tags that are about TNA, which it's fucking painful. I know, but
God damn it.
First up, Christy Hemme's now on the creative team. I don't really know if she has any creative skills or anything, but what the hell? What do they have to lose at this point, right?
Who the fuck?
Sticky dick in it.
Sticky dicky.
They're gonna be like her new character. You know who's not gonna be able to do that? Samuel Shaw.
Samuel Shaw.
So this just sort of popped up out of left field. I don't really know where this is going to be going. I don't know if this is an instance where they're running out of people, so they were just like, let's try him.
I read a bit of news on what the actual thing is. She isn't so much on the creative team as much as it's her job to go around and help people with their visual look, like their ring gear. So maybe she kind of fucking help Samuel Shaw.
She's like a fashion consultant?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Wow, that's totally not creative team.
Yeah, that's what I read, but it's from Scoop. So
I'd believe it. I mean, she's a designer herself. She marketed her own line of crap online.
That's maybe
the credentials behind it. It's like, so why should you be our central person? I got a lot of crap online.
I showed my tits once. Pretty good.
Maybe she's on like the creative team just for the sole purpose that maybe they're just like no one else wants to join us. Christy, you got this shit in the bag, and she's probably doing all the booking. She's probably why what's this guy's name? Eric Young's the champion right now. It was her booking.
Well, look at it this way. At least it's not Russo.
I don't know. Candy's got some pretty fucked up ideas.
Well, that's the other hot tag is Eric Young winning the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Just feel like it's a response from WWE here. They have Daniel Bryan, this bearded babyface, win the championship, and then TNA just goes, well, Eric Young's got a beard and he's a babyface. Let's just have him win.
I was reading the spoilers for next week's Impact, and I hear that he's going to be coming through the crowd, throwing his hands in the air, chanting, positively, positively,
no way,
positively.
Shut up.
That's what happens when you put Hemme on the creative team.
Yeah. This is awesome. This is funny. I don't know why they always take ideas from each other, and they're never good ideas.
Yeah, it's almost like stealing ideas is something that happens in wrestling. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I kind of like Eric Young. I don't know if I would ever put him as a world champion, though, and it just kind of feels cheap to me.
Mango, it's TNA. How could you even like it at all?
True.
Who are you, Mango? Jeez, I thought I knew you well.
It's the inner Miguel in me. Well, these two TNA topics. Anybody else want to throw anything out there before we move on, or should we?
All right, to put into as far as fucking Eric Young as a champion, to put into perspective, it'd be like having your Santino Marella as the champion. It makes no sense. He's a comedy character, and he has been for so long. There's very little that I watch of TNA, but for what I have, I already know that he's not a main event player, and they've just thrown this out of left field. So it's dumb. I don't like it, and the people who are supporting it, our excuses are, he's been in the company a long time. Well, guess what? Being in the company a long time doesn't legitimize you and give you an excuse to hold the belt. That's like saying Val Venis should have been the fucking WWE champion during his time in the WWE.
Brooklyn Brawler for champ.
Yeah, that's the fucking logic that some people are using. So Eric Young shouldn't be the champion, and
Peyton or Drew, any thoughts?
It's TNA. I don't give a fuck.
Something close to TNA related, but not quite. Jeff Jarrett has announced his new wrestling promotion, Global Force Wrestling, which is an okay title. Yeah, nothing special. Nothing that's as bad as total nonstop action wrestling, and not as good as World Wrestling Entertainment. But I'm interested. I'll watch it, check it out, see what's up. I don't know who the roster is. I don't know who the creative team is or anything really, but I'll give it a shot. Lego?
I'll give it a shot too, and I'm interested because I've written an article for SmarkAtMoment.com in regards to what I'd want to see in a new TNA, in a new Jeff Jarrett promotion. Ugh, TNA.
Freudian slip, huh?
Yeah. Fucking, I associate Jeff Jarrett with TNA way too much. Ugh. So, I'm giving it a chance, much like you, but here's the issue. I will not follow any pro wrestling product unless it's available for me at ease. If it's one of these where I've got to get the fucking DVDs constantly or catch what snippets I can online, I got no interest. If they get a TV deal, I'll give them a chance.
That whole like DVD marketing thing doesn't even like fit today. Like any company that tries to do that is gonna fail right off the bat. If you're not going for some kind of at least digital distribution, you're not gonna make it today.
Hell yeah.
And I can't imagine them being able to really sell that, too. You kind of have to put that out there for free.
Well, that's how the way you followed like companies like Ring of Honor back in the day, probably about 05. It was all DVD, this, DVD, that, and bits online. And even I had a hard time following that shit. I had the wrestlers that I liked, but I couldn't follow the product. And that's what I worry about when there's this new promotion. But they look like they've got some financial backing, at least from previous reports. So hopefully they can score a TV deal or at least make it easy to access.
What I want to know is how did TNA survive when they were like just doing weekly pay-per-views? Who the fuck was actually buying that stuff?
Panda.
I was.
I don't know. I was watching shit online. I was back in England back then, so...
Chirp, chirp, chirp.
Cool.
So, Peyton, no other thoughts about GFW?
What?
That sounds so
Global Force
fucking
Wrestling?
awkward.
At least the crowd probably won't be chanting that whenever they see something cool.
They'll be like, Jarrett.
Wrestling.
I gotta say, Jeff Jarrett, his own biggest fan. I never gotten too behind him or anything that he's done. I think he is one of the sole guys responsible for the downfall of WCW. I, unlike a lot of people, really don't care too much for the earliest years of TNA. I think TNA's best years were more like the 05 to 08 era, like when Dixie Carter first took over and they started bringing the initial group of WWE guys, like the Kurt Angles, the Christians, the Jeff Hardys. That's what I consider the golden years of TNA. So I don't know.
Silver years.
Oh yeah. Sure, we'll go with that. I don't know. I mean, it's always intriguing to see a new company come up, especially that can start off with a lot of steam. But who is there to join that company? I mean, he better have like a really, really awesome crop of fresh guys if he's going to hope to make it. Because there's no current names you're really going to pull up that anybody's going to give a shit about.
Well, there's AJ Styles and AJ Styles.
Well, I was going to say there's AJ Styles and... I think there's someone else we can think of.
Austin Aries?
That might, you know what? AJ Styles might be a no-go now because from what I understand, he signed with New Japan.
No, well, maybe that's not an exclusive deal.
Austin Aries.
Austin Aries could be someone else, but I feel like there's someone else, maybe someone else who might
Matt
be
Hardy.
involved in some kind of like storyline, but I don't think he is.
Sting.
No. CM Punk.
No, fuck off.
Fuck you.
CM Punk's still signed with WWE.
Only until the summer.
Eh.
Yeah, except he's not gonna do anything outside of WWE. Who do you think you are?
I think you'd need an awful lot of money to be able to get Punk to go.
He's probably just going to fight the Green Power Ranger.
Yeah.
But I could see somebody like a John Morrison going over there, and a couple other names that really aren't going to make too big of a splash, but enough of a splash that people will go, all right, well, I'll pay a little bit of attention to that.
Now,
Carlito needs a job.
I don't study the career of Jeff Jarrett. Who is Jeff Jarrett's circle? Like, who would be Jeff Jarrett's tightest cronies that would go there automatically?
Road Dogg in WWE, so that's fucked. R-Truth in WWE, so he's fucked there too. Yeah, he's got nobody right now. He's got Toby Keith. He's
got Jim Cornette, right?
I didn't even know they were close.
I thought Cornette was in Ring of
ROH.
He's with no one right now.
Really? Oh.
Well,
Yeah, he was just in a tour in the UK speaking bullshit. So yeah,
That'd be a fantastic person to get involved in.
Yeah.
Hey, he might even be able to get Jim Ross.
So I don't know. There's potential for this. I'm gonna keep one ear to the ground to it, but I'm not gonna be quick to invest money into it or anything. It's gonna have to prove itself to me first.
You're not gonna buy the Global Force Wrestling Network.
No.
Maybe you can get Carlos Colon here. Here he's not doing much.
Drew, what do you think about this whole new promotion?
I don't give a fuck.
That covers Sean Walker's answer too.
Well, it's like this. See, when you have two babies and you don't really give a crap about either of them, you ignore them. And this is TNA and Jeff Jarrett's whatever new promotion is. So it's like that. Someone's playing the paper in the background, but that's not the point. The point is that unless they get someone, and my mic probably went out, didn't it?
No, you're rambling about nonsense. You're pulling like a less enthusiastic Ultimate Warrior promo.
And I am the Samuel Warrior.
So in the end of the day, go WWE.
Here's an odd thing. I just thought was funny enough that I wanted to put out here because what the hell? Nobody's really mentioning this that much. Apparently, Damian Sandow went around WrestleMania weekend and gave out $10 bills to homeless people just for the hell of it. It wasn't a part of anything with WWE. It wasn't filmed. It was just him walking around going like, "Here's $10. Here's $10. Here's $10." I think that's cool.
Fucking asshole. You should be giving out hundreds.
I don't know if he would be able to afford that so much.
Oh, it's a good story, Yeah, it might only be $10, but to those without a home, $10 can mean a meal in most cases.
Mm-hmm. The story's going to advance, and he's just gone psycho because WWE is not using him anymore, and he's just depressed and giving away all his wealth.
He's going to get released, and then he's going to go back to the homeless people and be like, "Hey, can I get the $10 back?" that was a loan, buddy. Okay. I thought I was going to win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
Oh, and I'm going to need interest.
Two other hot tags. Vickie Guerrero is leaving WWE, and she's not going to Global Force Wrestling or anything else like that. She's going to try to do things outside of the wrestling business.
No.
They didn't make any kind of a deal or any kind of a spectacle about this at all. I kind of thought that they would write her off TV in some capacity when she would leave.
If they were going to do it, they should have done it this past Monday instead of just have AJ drop the title like that. At least have Vickie come out and say, "Here, face page," or some shit like that.
Right.
You think they would have done something along those lines instead of just like, "Hey, Vickie's here at WrestleMania, and she's gone."
Yeah, they went out of their way to name that the Vickie Guerrero Divas Invitational thing or something like that. Maybe that was like their send-off, just having her come out and announce that. And they're like, that's good enough.
Here's how we're going to send you off. We're going to give you the match that's going to get the least reaction after The Undertaker's streak dies.
Any thoughts about Vickie Guerrero leaving, guys?
She could make a profession as a scarecrow.
I hope she gets a job as a swimsuit model.
Yummy.
And the last hot tag, WWE is going to be dropping the word pay-per-view and they're going to be referring to all of the former pay-per-views as just special events from now on, which is going to sound really awkward at first, isn't it? When they go, okay, well, the next special event is Extreme Rules or whatever, because we're so ingrained with this idea of, the WWE Battleground pay-per-view and the SummerSlam pay-per-view and this pay-per-view and all that. I mean, I've got shit built into Smark Out Moment where it's like the pay-per-view schedule and this is the pay-per-view label and all that. So
Tony, I have to stop you. Least we forget this used to be the WWF.
True.
It took time, but we got used to it. Times change.
Yeah, time will mend all
It's not that big of a deal. Technology's changing, and you can't keep calling it a pay-per-view if it is more of a thing that's on the network.
Yeah,
especially if it's a thing that's exclusively on the network, then it makes no sense to call it a pay-per-view.
Yeah, then there's that, and also to me, I think most people refer to their shows as just shows now. They don't call it the Battleground pay-per-view. I just call it Battleground, the Money in the Bank. I think they're just kind of like, you just call them as shows from now on, man. Go, geez, you don't need to add extra words to it. Gosh.
Gosh.
Well, I'm gonna miss the pay-per-view name.
You're the only one who will.
I like special events, but I don't know.
I fucking hate the term special event. Just call them by the event names.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wish they would just do that, actually.
I think they can come up with a better term than just special events. I think they will in time. I think it's just they haven't figured it out yet, and there's no reason to call it pay-per-view. So it's just like, special events. But
special events.
They're going to just call them network per-views. Just to make sure that they get another plug for the network in there. So, that's the hot tags for the week. And we're going to take a little bit of a break here with the rest hold, and we're going to come back and start talking about WrestleMania 30.
Rest hold.